So then, let's see, I got 500 minus 5y plus 30y equals 2,000. So I got 500 plus 25y equals 2,000, 25y, subtract 500. I mean, you all can do this, and do this a little quickly because I'm not even showing you what I'm doing. Right, I mean, now it's just solving for y. It should not be a big deal. Divide by 25. 60, I like it. 60 who's? 60 who-to-ones? Liters, I like it. So 60 liters of?
30% solution.
Good. Y is 30% solution. So how many liters of, what was the other? 5%? That's high, huh?
40.
40 liters of 5%. And what we say earlier, which one should there have been more of? Since it was closer to 30%, there should have been more of the 30. And there is more than 30. There's 60 liters of 30 versus 40 liters of 5. That's why it ended up being a higher concentration. Closer to 30%. All right. You guys love those problems. I'm not saying go buy acid and do this in your garage. You don't have to actually do this. This is theoretical. Let's not do experimental. All right.
Can you do this one? I have another one. 90% of antifreeze solution is to be mixed with 75% solution to make 120 liters of 78% solution. How many liters of the 90% and 75% solution will be used?
Oh, here it is. Page 98. Now we're on page 98. But you guys, will you guys understand it? I say this all the time. It's the same problem we just did.
Yeah.
Do some of you guys realize what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to count your vote from now on because you seem to cancel yourself out. 90% solution, how much of it? I don't know. It's to be mixed with the 75% solution, how much of it? I don't know. To make 120 total of this, I mean, you guys, that's the exact same problem we just did. So how much 90% do I have? X. How much 75% do I have? Y. So what's X plus Y?
120.
120. And then, can we just jump to this using, instead of drawing the pictures?
Yeah.
What percent of X?
0.9.
90. So 0.9X plus
0.75.
0.75Y has to be what percentage of what? 78% of 120. So I have amount, percent of amount, percent of amount, percent of amount. So the equations make sense. You have to have, on one side, it's got the exact same idea as the other side, or else your equation is crap. Right? You can't have money plus money equals people. Well, no. I'm going to make people money, my people. No. You can't do that. 98. But you guys, that's instead of 100, they have 120. Instead of 30 and 5, they have 90 and 75. And which one I'm going to use more of, I don't even know what the answer is, but since I want it to be 78%, I'm going to have more of the what?
75.
Or 90%.
I'm going to have more of the 75% because it's closer to 75. If I add a little bit of 90%, it's going to raise it from 75 to 78. That's the idea. I just want to add a little bit of 90 just to raise it from 75 to 78. So I'm going to have more of the 75. Do you have to know that? No, but it's a quick way to check your answer to make sure it makes sense. And now you do what we just did. You can multiply this by 100. Why? I'm not going to do it because it's the same problem we just did. I've chosen not to do it. Okay. Is there any other questions before we get into new stuff? Get into new stuff.
So you gotta do 54.
All right. All right, sure. So page 264. number 54. Right. What's happening? All right, so the measure of the two smaller angles in a triangle are equal. And it says isosceles triangle. And their sum equals the largest angle. So the two smaller angles are going to be these. So what are you going to call these angles? X. It's crazy. So what are you going to call this one? Y. I love it. So the two smaller angles are equal. So they're both X. And then I have a third angle. I got to call it Y because it's going to be some other amount. So one equation I could write right now without any more information from the book, just looking at the picture, was
Plus y equal 100?
180.
180. So 2x plus y has to be 180 because we know that the sum of all the angles in any triangle in the universe has to be 180 degrees. At least in our universe. Could be a universe where it's different. Alright, enough of that stuff. And then it also tells me that the blah blah blah. Oh, they told me. Oh, that's a stupid problem. They help you out so much in these. I'm not going to help you out as much as this, brother. They said let x be the measure of each of the two and let y be. Screw you. Problem. So what else did they tell me? The measures of the two smaller angles are equal. Their sum equals the largest angle. That's the other piece of information. The sum of the two smaller is the larger.
2x equals y.
Yes, I like it, Nick. So when I add these together, it is the larger one. That's what they tell me in the problem. The sum of the two smaller ones is the larger one. Okay, these two added is that. All right, so like Nathan said, it's going to be 2x equals y. Now I like this problem because this is interesting. You could replace, now what method would you use? I pretty much gave it away, but what method would be really smart to use? Substitution. Now here's something interesting. I could replace y with 2x, or I could replace 2x with y.
So how that ends up equal to each other?
Say again?
Because 2x is equal to y, right?
Sure, yes.
Why the difference of the equations is all the angles are equal to each other.
No, nobody said that. Where does it say? Where does it say that? So you misread it. The measures of the two smaller angles are equal is what it says. Well, there you go. That was the problem. So if I do it this way, if I say 1, I replace 2x with y, then y is going to be
4x.
90 divided by 2. What happened? I lost you guys. What's the matter?
Wait. How do you get 2y? Like, from 2x?
What is 2x? What is 2x?
Y.
It's
equal to-
y.
Okay.
So I replace it with y.
Okay, that makes sense.
I like it. I just wanted to do it a different way. So this is a nice. I want you to realize now. If I had this equation and I knew this, I could replace 3y with
5x.
5x there. So you don't have to have y equals. If I have a 3y in an equation and I could solve for 3y in another equation, then I know to replace 3y with what it is. It doesn't have to be y equals. You can expand your universe now. It could just, if I know that some expression of y equals some expression of x, I can replace it with what it equals. No matter what it is. You don't have to solve for y all the way. That way you can eliminate fractions sometimes. You don't have to get fractions if you're smart about it. Or if you don't like that, y is 2x. So how do I rewrite number 1?
4x.
2x plus 2x. 4x is 180. So x is 45. I like it. No. What I got earlier was y was 90.
Yeah.
What am I going to get now? If I put x 45, I get y is... you do it the other way, you get y first. You do it this way, you get x first. The math didn't give a shit. It's like you're going to end up in the same place. So I don't care which letter you get first. It doesn't matter. Good. All right. Maybe. Okay. So this last section is a little bit freaky, which is why I'm glad we have some time. So if you haven't yet tried out some of these word problems, do it. And tomorrow we'll focus more time on the word problems again. I think every day we'll just do a little bit of word problems. While I'm thinking about it, what's happening? When's the next test?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Next Wednesday, next Tuesday,
Yeah, it's on the 9th, which is...
On next Wednesday.
There it is. All right. Monday, no, I'm not going to. Yeah, that would be so evil. Why is nobody here for the test? Everybody gets an F. Oh, it's Monday. We don't meet on Monday. So Wednesday. So that means Tuesday is going to be review day. Tomorrow we have a quiz, and then so tomorrow we have to finish up chapter 4, which is great. We're right there. We're at the last section in chapter 4, which is good. We need some time for it because it's a little weird, like I said. So there's no other questions left over. We're going to get into 4:4. Okay, here we go. So, I always am curious about how students look at what I'm about to do, but I'm going to overanalyze an easier, earlier situation so that we make sense of what we're going to do today. So just bear with me. Okay? If I was going to graph the solution for x greater than or equal to 2, like I said, this is an earlier, easy problem. How do I graph that? Don't overthink it. How many variables are up there? One. Okay, so if I don't say, you can just put it on a number line. I just need it. Why would I need that? Y? I got X. That's all I got. So you make a number line. What's important?
bracket, or is these zeros fail?
2 is important. Good. Thank you. 2 is important. I can't put bracket if I don't got nothing up there. All right. Now the bracket's important. All right. I like it. Now watch this. Why did we put the 2 up there? Why is 2 so special? What's so special about 2?
X is equal to 1.
Because one side of 2 are the answers, and the other side of 2 are the not answers. I told you I was going to overanalyze. Because today we're going to do this with 2 variables. Oh, shit, we're going to do inequalities with 2 variables. A little bit freaky. But how do I always do it? I figure out what's the dividing line between good and evil. I mean, answers and not answers. 2 is. So how do I figure out which side is the answers? Well, let's see. Let me try 3. Does 3 work? 3 is big, so the answers must be on that side. If one side is all answers and the other side is all not answers, if I plug one thing in and it works, that must be the side that works. So I shade that whole damn side. If I plug it in and it doesn't work, that must be the not answers. I shade the other side, right? So if I plug in a 1, does it work?
No.
So it must be the other side that's the answers, right? So I would shade this way. And in this case, of course, I would put a bracket on there. Is that cool? So I definitely overanalyze that, right? You know, like, what the shit was that? Just shake it up, Jeff. With that. The reason I did that is so now we can talk about, well, how the hell would this work? So now what's interesting is, give me some answers to this.
1 plus 1.
1 plus 1 equals 2. What about 1, 2?
5, 5.
What about the point 1, 2? Does that work? What's 1 plus 2?
3.
Is that bigger than 2? All right. What about 1, 4?
Yes.
Yes. What about 1, 11?
Yes.
Yes. What about 1, comma 1 billion?
Yes.
What about 2, comma 0?
Yes.
What about 2, comma 7? What about 2, comma 80 billion 14? All right. So you start to realize that a line is already an infinite number of answers, but now how many, just to continue to freak you guys out, I'm gonna bring this down in a minute, but how many dimensions are there here? 1. So what's the dividing thing? It's a point, divides it in half, right? How do I cut a plane in half? How do I cut a plane in half? Using a line. You're like, a knife? A sword? Throw it up, chop. No, a line. You understand? How do I cut a line in half? A point. How do I cut a plane in half? A line. So I'm not going to graph a point and then figure out which side to shape. I'm going to graph the line and then figure out which side to shape. Same idea, it's just in 2 dimensions now. How are we doing? You're like, what the hell's this shit going to look like? It's going to be nice. What's the easiest way to graph this line? Stay with me. What's the easiest way to graph a line? You do what first?
Work with the one.
Don't plug numbers. We're more sophisticated than that now, aren't we? Solve for?
1.
Solve for?
X.
2.
I didn't understand what you said first. What's the form of a line? The simplest form of a line? Y equals mx plus b. Solve for y, because then you'll know the slope and the y-intercept, right? How do I solve for y? Let me shove it in there, right? Negative x equals 2. What's the slope? Negative 1. What's the y-intercept?
0,
0, 2. Kick gas. So the first step of these problems is graphing a line. So if you have major trouble with graphing a line, oh shit, you better focus on that. Don't even try this section out then. How are we doing so far? So here I just had to graph a point. How hard is it to graph a point? Not. So I just put a 2. Yay! Over there I've got 2 dimensions now. So I have to graph the line that separates the answers and the non-answers. So I got to first figure out what the hell is the line. Well, now I know what the line is. How do I graph that line? So the first step in these problems is graphing a line. Let that be easy. Solve for y, graph the line. Then you're going to step back and figure out which side do I shade, just like we did here. How do I graph that line?
Y-intercept 2.
And go down. 4.
Alright. So a lot of you guys are still, I don't know if you just want me to write weird things on your paper. You got to show me scale. You got to be more precise. You got to label some points. You got to show me some work. Graphs have got to be a little more detailed in general. Some of you guys are doing all right. So it's 2, and then from there I go down 1. Oh, down. Oh, okay, that's not. I'm gonna make a point about this later. I'm going to make it a solid line, a solid line, because is it allowed to equal the line?
No. Yes.
Yes, because it's equal, right? It's greater or equal to. If it wasn't that, I would do the equivalent of an open circle. I would make it a dashed line. That's like an open circle. If I didn't have the equal to, all of these points would not work. It's not allowed to equal the line, so I would make it dashed instead of solid. So that's the analogy. Here I made this a bracket because it's allowed to equal. If it wasn't allowed to equal, I make it a parenthesis. Well, I don't want to make a bunch of little parentheses, so I just make it a dashed line if it's not allowed to equal it, just like a parenthesis instead of a bracket.
What do you mean by dash?
We'll do another one here in a minute. All right. Now I got to figure out which side to shade. And this way you do a test point. And I'm going to use the point 0, 0 every time I can because that's an easy point. So if I plug it in the equation, 0 plus 0, is that bigger than 2?
Yes.
0 is bigger than 2?
No.
No. So where's 0, 0?
Right in the.
There. It didn't work. So which side is all the answers? The other side. Bam. Done. Done. Next problem. Oh shit. Draw the line. Make the line the right. Is it solid or dashed? And then plug in a point to see which side you shake. That's how all of these work. Let's try another one. We'll make a dashed one. Oh. Alright, so what have I had? Black. course, a good first step is
So for what?
Solve for y. I like it. Yeah, and this is kind of driving me a little bit crazy. You divide by -5. You can't get to choose what gets divided by -5. Everything gets divided by -5. You don't get to choose. I don't want to divide that one. No. Everything gets divided by -5 because it wouldn't be fair otherwise. You have to do the same thing to both sides. The whole side. Now, what did I just do? Divided by negative.
So the sign.
I like it. So these cancel, get y. That has to become less than?
3 over 5 is
Yeah, positive 3/5 x.
negative 3.
Minus 3/11. So what kind of line is it going to be? Dashed. I like it. Dotted. If you prefer that, that's what dashed means.
I just don't understand why you switch the.
Whenever I divide and multiply by negative, the inequality's got to switch. Remember that whole thing like this? 1 is bigger, but if I divide by -1, now 2 is bigger. What did it do? It switched. I love it. So why do you switch it? Because you have to. Because you do. Because it's the way it works. Because only if you divide or multiply by negative. Not because there's a negative somewhere, but because we divided by a negative, the sign's got to switch. How do I, so we know it's going to be dotted. What do I know about that line?
Slope and y is
5, 3 over 5.
Y to 7.
And y is the 7.
0 to negative.
-3. And then I go up
up 3. Right
over
side.
5. And it's going to be dashed. That's what I mean by dashed. Or dotted, however you want to talk about it. So that's the equivalent of open circle or parenthesis, right? It's a way of saying, hey, the points on this line don't work. So watch this. A point on this line is 0, -3, right? If I plug 0, -3 in, I get 0 minus 5 times -3. That's 15, right? Is 15 bigger than 15?
No.
No, so I need a way to communicate, hey, the points on this line don't actually work, so I make it dashed, or dotted, however you want to say it. Which side do I shade?
The lower side.
Can I use 0, 0 as a test point? What's the only time I can't use 0, 0 to test the sides? Yeah, if the line goes through 0, 0, then it's not on a side. Then I would use 1, 0. Yeah, or something with a 0 in it, so that makes it quick. Or it doesn't even matter. I mean, I could use that point if I wanted to, but I don't. So if I plug a 0, 0 in and it works, I'm going to shade that way. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to shade the other way. I like it. That's that simple, because either all the answers are here or none of them are here. That's why I only have to look at one point. So what happens when you plug a 0, 0 in? Is 0 bigger than 15?
No.
So that I shade where?
Down.
Down. What does that mean? What happened? What does that point do? It works. It works. If I plug that, whatever that point is, if I plug it in, it'll work. And that point, of course, won't work. It's crazy. So we have two foreign languages next to each other. Spanish and math. Alright. Do you guys start to get the feel for this? So you solve it for y, so you can graph the line, make the line the right kind of line, and then throw in a point to see which side you shade. So what are we actually going to see? We're going to see a system of linear inequalities. What the hell's that? I don't know.
So two equations of linear equality.
Yeah, we're going to see two of these at once. So here, I'm going to let you guys do this on your own. And this is the hard shit, I'll let you do it on your own. Ha. So, let me make it nice to begin with. So the way you do this is you completely graph the first one, shade it, And then on top of that, you graph the second one. So do that, and then we'll talk about where the answer is.
Repeat those steps again.
Do this one. On top of that, do that one.
Just graph it.
Like we did here. So completely graph this one, meaning you get the line, you get the shading done.
And then
On top of that, graph this one. Get the line, get the shading done. Or sit there and stare at it. Okay, good. Make me feel all creeped out.